What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, dude. So today we are going to be analyzing presidential campaign slogans of the last 20 years based on the regions of the brain described in Orrin Claff's book, Pitch Anything, man. So this is kind of a book this guy pitches for like VC funding for companies and stuff like that, man. But he's got some interesting brain science in this book here. And basically, dude, like from an evolutionary perspective, there's like three levels of the brain, right? With the oldest being, I think it's called the amygdala, is like the technical term. That's the reptilian brain, as he says, or he uses the term croc brain, right? That's like the most primitive brain that's trying to figure out if someone's a threat or not, right? And then the prefrontal cortex, which is our newest form of the brain, which is involved in, high-level decision-making and stuff like that, has been kind of the most recent development. And I believe that the newest form of the brain, right, requires the biggest energy expenditure to operate. So in terms of presidential campaign slogans, right, you are basically trying to just hit somebody with like a simple message in a small number of words that like inspires them, like compels them essentially to take action, right? So I asked ChatGPT what the presidential campaign slogans were like going back to 2004. So we'll just kind of run through these here and think about their strength from a marketing perspective. Another person to think about is who is the guy that wrote? Oh yeah, Nobel Prize winning Daniel Kahneman also wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. He basically talks about how there's like type 1 and type 2 thinking. So type 1 thinking is probably what they would say is like what the amygdala does, man. It's just like simple thinking, right? That's like very prone to cognitive biases, but it's like our thinking that's like, maybe using cognitive shortcuts to understand our immediate reality. Whereas type 2 thinking is, more intense, intentional thinking. But with that intentional thinking, it comes like, there comes like additional, calorie use, and it might take your mind off something else, right? So like, they say that you should not maybe put a ton of effort into, what you're going to wear on a typical day, but maybe you should focus on how you're going to long-term put extra thinking energy into like how you're going to like allocate like your investment money for the future, allocate your budget or something like that. So, anyway, dude, let's get into it. So the 2004 presidential election, I was pretty young, so I don't remember quite as much of the cultural zeitgeist at the time as I do now, but John Kerry's slogan was, "Let America be America again." So in that one, bro, like how it initially strikes me, I'm like, let America be America again. Well, America is a very multifaceted place that means a lot of different things to different people. So, maybe like with that statement, right, that he's trying to bring people back together or something like that, but it's already kind of lost on me, man. It's like, let America be America again. Not very strong. So George W. Bush has a safer world and a more hopeful America. In my mind, that's a little bit more of a compelling message, whether it be actually true or not. Like, I understand what he's trying to convey there. So that makes sense why George W. Bush beat John Kerry, right? So we're going off of amygdala, like type 1 thinking here, not at all like deep, higher level political analysis, facts analysis of who should have ultimately won and stuff like that. So, all right, dude, 2008, we've got John McCain saying country first. Initial thoughts on that one, kind of reflective, right, of his veteran status. It's the idea of putting country maybe above politics. You could take that a lot of different ways, but I like that one in that it's simple, right? There's some nobility to it. And then Barack Obama's got change we can believe in, and yes, we can. Um, Barack's like, it's tapping into the hero's journey a little bit here, bro. Like, obviously, like there's a big significance in America, right, with our past, having like a first black president, right? So like, yes, we can, like, yes, we can do it. Like, anyone can be president. I think that's like a very compelling message to me. And then change we can believe in. That's almost like a little bit of a snub to like any former president, right? It's like he's differentiating himself from the other candidates there, man. So that's pretty good. It's interesting chat came up with these quotes here, because I know like one thing I remember is Barack had like just hope as like a logo, which was also pretty compelling. And I think he got the guy from Obey, right, thinking back now, to make that like really, the guy Shepard Fairey, I think his name was the artist. He made that like really cool Obama logo that became like, had such heavy cultural significance, man. I heard Ty Lopez say the other day that marketing wins elections, and I totally believe that to be true. All right, it says 2012 Barack Obama forward he had as his 2012 presidential election. Again, too, it's like, Barack was kind of running again, President Obama, so it's like, he's adding a new slogan to the mix. So in my mind, it's like, how do we differentiate his old one? He probably reused some of his ones from his first run, right? And then Mitt Romney, believe in America. Yeah, kind of inspiring, right? But also kind of vague. It's like slightly better than John Kerry's Make America America Again, right? All right, dude. So 2016 presidential election. We've got Donald Trump with Make America Great Again, obviously something we hear ad nauseum these days, and then Hillary Clinton with Stronger Together. I like Hillary Clinton's message of like cohesiveness, coming together as a country. I think a lot of us, this was like the first like televised debate. I feel like that was like just totally like no courtesy, disrespectful between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Like, I feel like this is the first time that like presidential debates kind of became like a reality show, right? And they were like hitting each other with like personal attacks. Like, go back on YouTube and look at like presidential debates prior to that, and like they were way less of this like televised reality show. But so perhaps some of like Stronger Together, like, does she really mean that, Make America Great Again. So we hear this like all the time, right? And like, I think a lot of folks like understand that, the idea of Make America Great Again, we have to ask ourselves the question, like, was America ever great, and for who? Like, yeah, I think we could all agree that to some extent, like, yeah, it was great in a lot of ways and maybe bad in a lot of ways too. But in terms of just initial thoughts, strength of the marketing message here, it's a simple concept, right? And I think it kind of taps into like people's tendency to remember the past as better than it was. Like we all as humans have the tendency to do that, right? So the idea of make America great again, it's like let's return to greatness. I think it taps into Americans like love of sports and like the underdog story, right? So yeah, it's definitely was a marketing message, a sign of the times, right? Tapped into that kind of deindustrialized America, stuff like that. So, all right, dude, in 2020, we have Joe Biden with Build Back Better and Donald Trump with Keep America Great. So, in 2020, dude, it seems like Donald Trump got kind of complacent in his campaign slogan, dog. Because, like, Keep America Great almost says, like, oh, dude, we arrived in my last administration, or it's like, Keep America Great. It's almost a divisive message, right? Because it's like there's forces that are trying to make America negative rather than giving your opponents the benefit of the doubt for just having a different vision of how to get to a particular level of greatness or development in America. So I think he got complacent there, and I think that's why Joe Biden won the 2020 presidential election with his slogan, Build Back Better. Like, that's an exciting thing. Like, not only are we going to build it back, but we're going to build it back better, right? Like, think about, like, God forbid, like your house floods or something like that. And, you're like, ah, oh, damn, dude, this is going to cost so much money. This is going to be a pain, dude. Where are we going to, like, cook, and then, maybe the insurance money comes back and, like, you've got the financial means. It's like, hey, man, like, I really love that floor that we had in the house, man, a lot of memories there, but hey, bro, like, let's build it back better, man. Let's get that dream kitchen that we always wanted, bro. So, that's a really strong message from Joe Biden. I think that's partially why he won the 2020 presidential election, all things aside. All right, 2024, we had Joe Biden with finish the job, and then Donald Trump going back to make America great again. It's interesting because he didn't, according to ChatGPT, right? I don't know. I'd have to go back and verify all this, but he didn't use the Keep America Great thing. He went back to Make America Great Again, which he used in his first campaign. So he probably saw that as kind of more successful there. Yeah, bro. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of analyze those presidential slogans. It kind of goes along with this similar themes to this other book I've been reading. It's called Compelling People by John Neffinger and Matthew Kohut. I think these guys are like two psychologists. But it talks about how basically like the most compelling people, and like, let's pull up the definition of compelling real quick, bro. Cause honestly, it like surprised me a little bit when looking at it. Or we'll just ask chat real quick. Yo, chat, dude, what's the definition of compelling?
Hey, compelling means something that grabs your attention, is convincing, or evokes a strong interest or admiration. So if something is compelling, it's hard to ignore.
So would you say that like compelling ultimately is like, inspiring action behind a message or something?
Yeah, for sure. A compelling message can really motivate people to take action or feel strongly about something. It captures attention and often drives people to respond or get involved.
Yeah, dude. So you heard it from chat, but essentially, bro, what this book Compelling People says is that like the most compelling people generally are project a combination of both strength and warmth, right? And there's been examples on either end, right? Like people that seem to go all in with the strength message, and that might resonate with some people. Like I think they talked about like Ayn Rand. She went all in on strength and attracted some devout followers that way, whereas other people have gone all in on warmth as well. Um, but I think you could even talk about strength and warmth in the context of those presidential campaign slogans. Some of them lean more toward the strength end of the paradigm, others toward the warmth end of the paradigm. But the people that inspire the most message, the people that we can um, inspire the most action, the people that we can get the most behind their message, oftentimes I think project a combination of those, right? They're not all love without any strength, because if they lean too much on that end, then their message wouldn't get through, right? And then they're not, all strength to the point where they alienate people, because people are like, this is just a cold bastard dude, like I don't even mess with them. It's like yeah, fascinating to think about different leaders, right? And the mix of those traits that they embody. So a little bit disorganized with my thought process there at the end, man, but just some reflections on things that I've been reading here. Let me know if you like this kind of stuff, man. Unpacking different books I've been reading. I've got some other ideas as well. But please leave me some comments too, dude. Like, I'd love to hear your feedback, man. Let me know which of those presidential slogans you felt like were the most impactful ones, and like, do you think that they actually factor in to the same degree, like to a high level in terms of who ultimately wins, right? Like, if we take Oren Klaff's perspective that like most people want to stay in that reptilian brain because they don't want to expend energy, into that higher level thinking, then yeah, bro, those simple, marketing messages, simple slogans might sway things. Or maybe people are more tapped into the prefrontal cortex and really think about their voting kind of intentionally, right? It's probably some sort of a mix, and, life is not easy for a lot of people in America these days. So, we only have so much energy to expend every single day, right? And the person that has multiple jobs, like, maybe they don't have the ability to spend the emotional, energy to get into that higher level prefrontal cortex. Or maybe they do because they want their life to change. So, anyway, that's enough rambling. I'll catch you on the next one.